light is going to, and the realm is going to change energy systems. That's how it works. Yeah. That's why there's a clock to it, the great cosmic clock. And so you have the big Saturn and all of this, the timekeeper, busy that exists in the next realm too. The personification of an energy.
Our final topic is what happens when you have too much charge. You can't charge something up forever.
You think I'm crazy? Huh? Is that what he told you? Well, listen up! There is a storm coming! Like nothing you have ever seen! And not a one of you is prepared for it!
Others will not be. I don't think you want to be in an aluminum can. Yeah, so you want to clean your brain so you don't get fried. The system's upgrading in every way. Plasma out there changing the. Some people would think that the sun is going to basically come to a slow stop and then go the other way, like pendulum and everything's in the opposite direction. And that at that point there'll be, 3 days of darkness perhaps, or 3 days of complete light, depending on where the sun and the moon stop. See that? So as the system is reversing its engine, because it's a pendulum, you're getting energy out of this wild pendulum that takes us through all the ages. And as soon as we get to this point, it slows down and then goes back down. And that's what's essentially going to happen with the sun and the moon. And during that time, which will take, some people say 3 days, there's 3 days of the ending, portals.
You think I'm crazy? Hey! I'm talking to you, Michael! Huh? Really? You think I'm a thief?
We live inside what appears to be the second realm. Well, it's the third. The first realm is where Mercury resides. That's why Mercury is androgynous. It's a dual. It's the sun and moon itself. And then you have the next realm out, so that place that was where everything. That's where people came from, as basically androgynous beings. They do nothing of separation from those two energies. And then they went out one realm, and that realm is now what you call the Aryan realm. I've told the story many times, and I think it's pretty accurate. The bricks and buildings into resonators. There you go. That seems exactly about right. I don't know. I think that's that's tough. I don't know these, because they want to turn everything into a smart city and blah 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 blah. I mean, it might be good to be in a just find the old buildings, find one of those. You probably have some around you. You just you don't have to go into a city per se. You could just go find a temple. Find a. Can you walk into the Freemason temples? Scottish Rite. I mean, they seem to be pretty old. They seem to have survived. They go into a building with really big doors. Churches. Probably safe. I would not be in a stadium. Don't do that. Find the oldest buildings you can. And those are probably the ones that will work through the plasma.
This generation has no memory of the creation event. The genesis of our world. It survives mostly in
Video of a woman saying, what if slavery was a part of one big 400+ year contract, and that the Africans and the slaves were literally just the sacrifices that they needed, that the founding fathers basically went to a deity and they needed black Africans to basically be the sacrifice. And I have never been more intrigued in something. Nothing has made more sense to me than that video. And I most definitely will be tagging this creator below because she is amazing. But yeah, she said she feels like slavery was a part of this contract. Like I said, 400+ year contract. And if you think about it, it just makes so much sense. And it was almost in a way like they were harvesting our energy. They needed our blood. They needed our fear to fuel them and make them be on top. And then I seen a lot of people go into details about how like they always want to call Haiti so evil, demonic, because they do voodoo and practice all these different dark magic. But that's because Haiti was the only place that actually still had their freedom, and they used their magic, their spirituality to win. Like these people were literally using their magic and their spirituality to win. These French people was basically like melting. They were having these people's teeth fall out. It was crazy. They were bringing them back up and making them shoot each other. Like, it was crazy, but that's why they try to demonize Haiti so bad, because they used their magic. But all along, they've been using magic. And it just gets deeper and deeper if you really do think about it. I seen someone in the comments mention how Oscarville, which was where Lake Lanier was, it used to be a black, predominantly black, thriving community that had racetracks, everything. Everybody was business owners. And what do? They go over there and make it into a lake. And it's like now the veil is so thin now because that contract is up and they're trying to do everything to take us back to where they were so they can still dominate. And it's like, look at the people that they took on the transatlantic slave trade. The people that was more in touch with their ancestors, their spirituality. They took us, like even the Native Americans, if you think about it like that. Then I seen another video of a woman that did a take on this as well. And she was like, just think of the rise of how America came up so fast, even though there was other nations that been here long, long before America that literally was nowhere near at how fast America grew. All because of this contract that actually was successful, but not for long. But it just makes so much sense why the U.S. was just ahead of everything. Like they've been in cahoots with so many more higher ups forever. All for power. But like I said, I'm going to tag this creator down below because that was so, like nothing never made so much sense to me in my life. This is all fun theories and just thoughts. This is not something literal, but it's just a fruit for thought because I never thought about it like that, but it makes so much sense. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
The most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied. Build a society around them in which those who have money benefit and those who don't fail. Make money their main focus, but make it so difficult to accumulate that they remain in a place of constant struggle, forced to dedicate the majority of their time to the system that made it this way. Tax them in every way possible, but tell them that it's for their own benefit so that they don't think twice about paying it. Take so much of their time and energy throughout the week, but give them 2 days to themselves so that they feel a sense of reward and don't fight back. promote the consumption of poison in every social setting so that even on those 2 days, they remain disconnected from themselves and each other. Pump their food with excess sugars and addictive chemicals, but make it cheap, advertised, and easily accessible so that they never stop consuming. When their food makes them ill, prescribe them medication that only masks the symptoms so that they become dependent on it every day. Charge them so much money for healthcare so that they stay in a constant loop of consuming, medicating, and working. Cause chaos amongst them and blame it on a group of their own so that they form judgmental stereotypes. Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be divided by another.
Real truth, you better wake up and find out, has been around you all of your life. You just didn't see it. Example, Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John Kennedy was elected to Congress 1946. Abe Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John Kennedy was elected president 1960. The names Lincoln and Kennedy both contain 7 letters. Both presidents were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both of the presidents' wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday in the head. President Lincoln's secretary was named Miss Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Miss Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, in 1939. Both assassins were known by 3 names: John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. Both names are comprised of 15 letters. President Lincoln was shot in a theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car named Lincoln, made by Ford. John Wilkes Booth ran to a theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. Booth and Oswald were both assassinated before they could go to trial. And a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe.
The truth is hidden in plain sight, and this is how they hide everything. If you are looking for the knowledge that has been hidden from us, if you want to know the meaning behind these symbols, if you want to know who controls the world, this ebook will literally unveil that to you, and ye shall know the truth, and truth shall set you free.
Is it that melanated, black, Afro people are the only ones who diss their own ancestors?
The ancestors do not exist. Those are demons that you speak to. Those are spirits.
Anybody that's dead, you are worshiping a demonic spirit.
We appreciate what our peoples did for us, but we don't worship the dead.
I feel it's important that everybody has the opportunity to speak how they feel, so no bash or hate to anybody who I just previously showed. TikTok is videos for educational purposes, entertainment, all that. They have really done a number on us. So, to say that the ancestors don't exist, and anything on the other side that you have a connection to is demonic, I guess it was wrong for us to win the Haitian Revolution for us using these demonic powers. Now, y'all know what the Day of the Dead is for Mexican people. They celebrate it by cooking food for their ancestors. Anybody who passed on, hold pictures up, light candles, and have a day to actually appreciate them. Their connection to their ancestors is good enough to be in a movie. Offering food.
Look how big she's getting.
Even Asians, they have a strong connection and foundation with their ancestors. They put the pictures up, the candle, they're offering food. They get a movie too that shows the worship of their ancestors. My point is, even in the media, in our households, we demonize everything that our ancestors did. And when they did make a movie about Afro people, they demonized voodoo. Why is it that when we connect to our ancestors, it's demonized, but any other being, it gets put out into the mainstream media that it's okay? I have to cut this short, so y'all see that warning right there? I can't really say everything that I want to say. So if you want the full video, go to my YouTube, because I post all of my content first there before I post it on TikTok.
This theory, Satan was released from hell in the late 18th century, around 1776, to go and gather his people for battle. We can see proof of this throughout history. especially around the time of 1776, because right around that time, we had the Bavarian Illuminati established, you had the Declaration of Independence signed by the United States, which believers of this theory believe that it was a Luciferian agenda behind the signing of the Declaration of Independence. You also have the American Revolutionary War, the French Revolution, the Napoleonic Wars, and all of this like chaos and, war time period points to the transition time between the Millennial Kingdom and Satan's little season. Right around this time is when you had the Luciferian Illuminati member and first president of the United States, George Washington, ready to begin and lay the groundwork for the establishment of this new world order. Because, as we learned in this video, Christ's second coming destroyed the old world order. So is this why they seem so hell-bent on establishing a new one? I don't know, but I would love to hear what you think. Then we have to mention the fact that George Washington led the Luciferian American Revolution on the Western Front, where we see all of this imagery for the war saying join or die, with the Luciferian serpent cut into pieces, representative of Christ's 1,000-year reign. But after Satan was released from his bottomless pit, these pieces were put back together. And people like George Washington were making sure that these Luciferian agendas were being carried out. A major part of this agenda was to destroy the past, and we can see evidence of this throughout all of these major great fires that happened all around the world at this time. If you go through history books, 99% of major cities have been practically burned to the ground at some point in our history. Supporters of this theory claim that this was part of the agenda to destroy our true past, not only the buildings and technological advancements, but also what was contained within them, the records, the books, the knowledge, and the truth. And then, on the Eastern Front, you have Napoleon Bonaparte, who led the Luciferians in Europe, Asia, and abroad. And he, of course, had the same goals as George Washington, he just carried it out across the Atlantic, not here in the United States. And we can see evidence of this in this picture of him marching out of Moscow, with Moscow burning behind him. Then, of course, right around this time, you have the fact that the French gifted the Americans the Statue of Liberty, which we talked about in my last video is not a statue of our liberty, but a statue of Satan's liberty and him being released from hell. So you have to, of course, ask yourself, why did the French gift the statue of Liberty, to the United States? Well, according to this theory, it's because they were the heads of the East and West during this Luciferian revolution, or during this transitional time, destroying evidence of the past and establishing a new world order, since Yahweh destroyed their old one. We even see more evidence of this when we look at the sculptor and designer of the Statue of Liberty. I am going to mispronounce this name, so be nice to me, but his name was Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. And he, of course, was a Freemason. And here, just to prove a point, he is pictured showing his allegiance to Lucifer through his Masonic hidden hand gesture. We also see that the Statue of Liberty not only resembles Satan, like I already mentioned was discussed in my first Satan's Little Season video, but also the Statue of Liberty very much so resembles their god, Apollo Mithrash Samarsh. I probably f***ed that up too. Better known as the sun god. Immediately after Satan's release, the next time period that we see is the Renaissance era, which of course is where we saw the creation and establishment of many key ideas that together all factor in as necessities in order to carry out the establishment's wishes and Satan's big master plan. Inventions of things like the Shakespearean theater, because of course the whole world's a stage. You have Edward Jenner creating the smallpox vaccine. The pharmaceutical industry was established. And I don't know about you, but personally, when I look at that serpent symbology in the medical industry today, it makes a hell of a lot more sense now. I'm just saying. Then, of course, we have Sir Richard Owen, who coined the term dinosauria. We even have a picture of him with his quote-unquote first dinosaur, which obviously isn't even anatomically correct. It's literally a joke. Dinosaurs aren't real. They never were, according to this theory anyway. And we can see the practice of this carried all the way up into today with, practices like paleontology. And then, of course, we cannot forget to mention how Charles Darwin proposed the theory of evolution and the Big Bang Theory right about this time, which literally contradicts the word of God and takes away people's purpose and meaning. Suddenly, humans are no longer Yahweh's divine creation, living a life of beauty, inspiration, and purpose. They're instead monkeys, flying on a ball through outer space, slaving their divine lives away, working for some megacorporation. Our lives no longer have purpose or meaning. All of a sudden, we're a freak accident, if you believe the mainstream narrative anyway. These are all direct attacks on the word of God to make him seem like a made-up fairy tale who, if you believe the official narrative, we can't trust. Because if they can get you to doubt the first book of Genesis, or how the world was created, or the fact that Jesus said he was coming back but he never actually showed up, so I guess he's a liar, huh? Then the rest of the Bible and Yahuwah and Yahweh's teachings become more malleable and easier for them to be manipulated further. I'm just saying. If Satan's little season really is the age that we're living in now, and if history has been rewritten through lost centuries, calendar changes, or global resets, then what does that mean for us? The Gregorian reform chopped days right out of history. The phantom time theory says whole centuries never even happened. Ancient architecture stands where it shouldn't. And then the temporal loop theory suggests this might not even be our first time through it all. So, this was a fun rabbit hole. Maybe time itself has been altered. Maybe we're trapped in the same sick, repeating story, thinking we're advancing, when really we're circling back to the same deception that's played out numerous times before. So what year is it really? 2025? 1315? Or something far stranger? Some period outside our known timeline altogether. As always, I'll leave the decision with you. At the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm just showing you what's out there and letting you decide what feels true to you. Because if even half of this stuff is real, then the biggest lie of all might just be time itself. This is Dark Side of the Truth. I'm Katie, and it's been my pleasure.
You know how they say Hollywood tells you the truth or what they're going to do in movies? Well, it couldn't be more true in this movie, which was in 1997. It's called Conspiracy Theory. And I was not awake in 1997. I am now, and oh my gosh, here is the opening scene to the movie. You might want to go watch it again.
July 8, 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. Wouldn't want to be there for the thaw. Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. You ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type groups from the right-wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud. My theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready, it's just a fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over, we'll all be toast. Oswald, yeah, Oswald, that's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? Tell you the one about Arm & Hammer goes to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, Armin, you've only got 3 minutes to live. And he says, oh my God, that's terrible news. Isn't there anything you can do for me, doc? 3 minutes. And the doctor says, well, Armin, I can boil you an egg. I guess not. All right. Did you ever see those advertisements like, got milk? You think you're living in a free country? You think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. Websites, newsletters, self-published manifestos, they make for gooks. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those big little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA. You know they're saying that with Sims, conspiratologists everywhere, spinning their wheels, and then they destroy their own credibility. I'm sure your heart's in the right place, okay? But, you know, somebody's got to lift the scab, the festering scab that is the bad egg. The chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at. You'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification thing. I mean, it's only a small, logical step, so they start putting it in us and our children. And then, before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with a pretext. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him. Yeah, he looks like the love child of the Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, Ray. Look at it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. You got any more of them? Get rid of them. Exchange them for good. they'll follow you. They know where every one of those